Your Excellencies, UN Secretary General, President of the General Assembly, Executive Director of UN Women, and distinguished guests. Today we are launching a campaign called He for She, and I am reaching out to you because we need your help. We want to end gender inequality, and to do so, we need everyone involved. This is the first campaign of its kind at the UN, and we want to galvanize as many men and boys as possible to be advocates for change. And we don't just want to talk about it. We want to ensure that it is tangible. I was appointed as Goodwill Ambassador for the UN 6 months ago, and the more I've spoken about women's rights, the more I've realized that fighting for feminism has become synonymous with man-hating. If there is one thing that I know for certain, it's that this has to stop. For the record, feminism is the belief that both men and women should have equal rights and opportunities. It is the theory of the political, economic, and social equality of the sexes. Boys will be boys, but can men be men? Can women be women? No one understands this question better than Emma Watson when she describes that feminism is not just an issue that women should be behind, but an issue that affects men and society as a whole. This is Emma Watson's He for She address to the UN, dated September 20th, 2014. I started questioning gender-based assumptions a long time ago. When I was 8, I was confused by being called bossy for wanting to direct the plays we put on for our parents, but the boys were not. When at 14, I became sexualized by certain elements of the media. When at 15, my girlfriends began dropping out of their beloved sports teams because they didn't want to appear too masculine. And when at 18, my male friends were unable to express their feelings. I decided that I was a feminist, and this seemed uncomplicated to me. But my recent research has shown me that feminism has become a very unpopular word. Women are choosing not to identify as feminists. Apparently, I am amongst the ranks of women whose expressions are seen as too strong, too aggressive, isolating, and anti-men. Unattractive even. Why has the word become such an uncomfortable one? I am a woman, and I believe it is right that I make the decisions regarding my own body. I believe it is right that women be involved on my behalf in the policies that will affect my life. And I believe it is right that socially I am afforded the same respect as men. Sadly, I can say that there is no one country in this world where all women can expect to receive these rights. No country can yet claim that they have reached gender equality. These rights I consider to be human ones, but I am among the lucky few. My life is a sheer privilege because my parents didn't love me any less because I was born a daughter. My school did not limit me because I was a girl. And my mentors did not assume that I would go less far because I might give birth to a child someday. These are the gender equality ambassadors who made me who I am today. And whether they know it or not, they are the inadvertent feminists who are changing the world today. And we need more of those. And if you still hate the word, it's not the word that is important, but the idea and the ambition behind that word. Because not all women can expect to receive the rights that I have. In fact, statistically, very few have been. In 1997, Hillary Clinton gave a famous speech in Beijing regarding women's rights. Sadly, many of the things she wanted to change are still true today. But what stood out to me the most was that less than 30% of the audience was male. How can we expect to affect change in this world when only half of it feels invited or comfortable to participate in the conversation? Men, I would like to take this opportunity to extend your formal invitation. Equality is your issue too. Because to date, I have seen my father's role as a parent being valued less by society, despite needing his presence in my life as much as my mother's. I've seen young men struggling with mental illness, unable to ask for help, for fear would make them less of men or less of a man. In fact, in the UK, suicide is the biggest killer of men, aged 20 to 49, eclipsing road accidents, cancer, and coronary heart disease. I've seen men made fragile and insecure by a distorted sense of what constitutes male success. Men don't have the benefits of equality either. We don't often talk about men being imprisoned in gender stereotypes, but I can see that they are. And that when they are free, things will change for women as a natural consequence. If men don't feel they have to be aggressive to be accepted, women won't feel the need to be submissive. If men don't have to control, women don't have to be controlled. Both men and women should feel free to be sensitive. Both men and women should feel free to be strong. It is time we start perceiving gender on a spectrum, rather than a set of two opposing ideals. And when we stop defining each other by what we are, and start defining each other by who we are, we can all be freer. And that's what He for She is about. It's about freedom. I want men to take up this mantle so that their mothers, sisters, and daughters can be free of prejudice. But also so that their sons can feel free to be vulnerable and human. Reclaim those parts of themselves they abandoned so long ago and be more true and complete versions of themselves. Now you may be wondering, who is this Harry Potter girl and why is she speaking at the UN? And it's a very good question. All I know is that I care about this problem. And having seen what I've seen and given the chance, I believe it is my responsibility to say something. Statesman Edinburgh once said, all that is needed for the forces of evil to triumph is for good men and women to do nothing. Now, in my nervousness for this speech and in my moments of doubt, I asked myself, if not me, who? If not now, when? If you find yourself with similar doubts, I hope these words will be of some comfort to you. Because the reality is, if we do nothing, it won't be 75 or maybe 100 years before women can expect to receive the same pay as men for the same work. 15.5 million girls will be married as children within the next 10 years. And it won't be until the year 2086 that rural African girls can get a secondary education. Now, if you believe in equality, you might be one of those inadvertent feminists I spoke of earlier. And for that, I applaud you. We are struggling to have a united world. But the good news is we have a united movement. It's called He for She. And I'm asking you to ask yourself, if not me, who? If not now, then when? Thank you very, very much.